Hello again. I think I've finally calmed down a bit since the first time we talked. I feel like we got off to the wrong start, YouTube, with my first video. So let's start again. My name is Kate. It's currently 10 minutes after midnight. My initial reaction videos are generally going to be pretty unscripted, really over-enthusiastic, and a little irrational. It's my first time trying YouTube, so I'm actually really thankful. Thank you to everyone who watched my video. The reception was actually a lot less dramatic than I thought it was going to be, which is great, because I know I said a lot of unpopular things. I read through all of the comments that I got, so thank you very much for taking the time to write them. They were really informative, and it was great to have a little bit of a back and forth conversation. I think that if I continue doing videos, depending on how much people like me after all this, please don't hate me. I'm sorry if anybody got offended with my first video. I really did not mean to offend anybody. I just wanted to talk about some of the things that I didn't enjoy so much in the first 2 episodes of the 3rd season of Sherlock. I definitely didn't mean, if I did, to offend anyone who was part of the production of the show, or if it sounded like I was trying to take jabs at them, because I'm not. They absolutely do a fantastic job with Sherlock. The show is still amazing, and I will still continue to watch it, and I'm still a really big fan. I just want to keep this brief, because I do want to do another review of the final episode. I'm sure I'm going to have a reaction to it. That's just natural for me. But I would probably do a wrap-up afterward if anybody's interested in watching. I don't know. I also wanted to go over just a few of the more common criticisms I've had for my first video. And it's fine if we don't end up agreeing in the end. That's totally cool. I have no problem with agreeing to disagree. And I am so thankful that people who have sent me messages have been so polite, and that the Sherlock fandom is so understanding and is so willing to give information where information is due. So thank you so much. The first point being that there seems to be a lot of speculation about what happened to Sherlock in the 2 years that we were away, and maybe some of that could contribute to the changes in his character that we see in this 3rd season. And on top of the speculations, people have been saying that the show just didn't have enough time to tell us everything that happened. See, my problem with that, however, is that never before had the 3 episodes been a hindrance to the show. The show had always been able to include all the information they needed for you to understand and enjoy contained in that 1.5 hours. So for fans to have to use their imagination to fill in the blanks, I mean, what other show requires you to do that? This show never even required you to do that. A show should tell you everything you need to know. And I feel like the first 2 seasons had accomplished that ingeniously. And yes, okay, maybe the books did tell you that, and there is a lot more information in the books than in the show, obviously. But then this leads me to my next issue. A lot of people were telling me that I didn't understand things because I hadn't read the books. Since when did Sherlock require homework? I mean, yes, a lot of people have read the Arthur Conan Doyle stories, and they're fantastic and they're amazing, and they probably enrich watching the show, but that's all that it should be. It should enrich your experience, not define your experience. It's like you're ordering takeout, but they didn't give you any utensils. How am I supposed to consume this? I want to eat this. I'm sure it's delicious to the people who have the fork and the knife and then can put it in their mouth. But the thing is, I don't have that. So now I'm just staring at it, confused. It was never a prerequisite to read the Arthur Conan Doyle stories before watching the first 2 seasons of Sherlock. It's reinventing the stories. So essentially, it's telling you the stories. I think it's a little counterproductive to isolate half of your audience because they didn't read the books because they were fans of your show. Another fact that seems to keep recurring is that the 3rd episode is going to justify events that were confusing in the first 2. But for me, the episode should still be able to stand on their own. It's like going to see a trilogy with someone who's already read all the books or the movies. Man, that movie sucked. The second one might have sucked, but the 3rd one is gonna be amazing! But I was talking about this one. Didn't you hear what I said? The 3rd one is gonna make it the best. But the 3rd one isn't out, and this wasn't that good. But it will be. What? Does that make sense? Isn't that strange to anyone else? I can only judge what's put in front of me, so it's kind of unfortunate that it's a requirement this season that I have to watch the 3rd episode before I can enjoy the first 2. I became a fan of the BBC Sherlock, and it's amazing that this show has been able to spark this interest in these classic stories. So I just find it a little bit odd that I have to read the stories to appreciate in full the episodes, and if I don't, it leaves me confused and a little bit unsatisfied. At least you didn't have to before. Another point that's been brought up a couple times is that I'm confusing a show about solving crimes with a show about the life of a detective who solves crimes. Right? I love John and Sherlock. I love the relationship they have together. However, a major part of life of this detective is solving crimes, and I think that in the first 2 seasons that is what drew a lot of the audience. How ingenious, almost superhuman, unique way of solving crimes by incredibly smart criminals. I mean, I don't think anyone signed on to watch Sherlock and John sit there and drink tea for an hour and a half. I mean, I didn't. Maybe someone did, I don't know. All shows have character development, but if the plot completely changes, then you're going to have a completely different show. Anyway, those are the points of interest that were recurring throughout the comments that I've gotten. And I really love the comments. I don't mean to be a shit disturber or instigator against Sherlock. I would never, ever deter anyone from watching Sherlock. It is one of the greatest shows on television, regardless of how I feel about this season. But thank you for the people who have been polite and really helped in this back and forth conversation. And I think if I do continue to make videos, that's what I would want. I want to be an advocate for expressing yourself, even if it's something that's unpopular. Anyway, I'm really excited for the episode on Sunday, as I know everyone is, and even though I'm not the type to enjoy spoilers, but I'm really glad people have been telling me that the last episode is supposed to be amazing and incredible, and really make up for anything that I may have missed in the first 2 episodes. So thank you for your reception so far, and the conversations we had. They've been great, and I hope they continue. And hopefully I won't be hated too much to not continue doing videos. And honestly, if I was just being super duper trolled by the writers, then let me be the first to say, touche.